A pleasant good evening to you wherever you are. Once again, we are back here at WINN FM 98.9 with the Real Talk with Lavi. How are you doing, St. Kitts and Nevis? So tonight we are going to have a special guest, and she is out there in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, and her name is Charlene Gomes. She's no stranger because her parents are from St. Kitts and Nevis, and she is a crisis counselor. And tonight we are going to be talking about how culture, relationship affect mental health. Yes, so tonight's topic is how culture and relationships affect our mental health. So I hope that Shelley is out there listening. She should be joining us via Zoom. So I just want to let you guys know once again, it is good to have you back with us. For those of you that are first time joining us, welcome. I am lovely, lavish Lavi, and I'm hailing from none other than Bronx, St. Peter's. Yes, that's right down here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So the good folks in St. Peter's Parish, Lavi Gomes, got you. Yeah. And the folks in the entire Federation, Lavi Gomes, got you also. Radio Land, good evening to you. I'm feeling so awesome because we are seeing more and more, hearing about our special show that we have in here for our local grassroots people, where we are bringing the real issues and focusing on stuff that can build our mental health healthy. You know what I mean? Build us healthy and strong. Yeah. So tonight, definitely, we're going to be focusing on how culture, and if anybody, when you think of culture and relationships, how it affecting or how can it affect our mental health? Well, first of all, this world now, once ago, if you're from Monkey Hill, your husband, your boyfriend, your cousin, everybody from Monkey Hill, maybe one maybe from Sandy Point, and we kind of, in the loop in St. Kitts. Now we are seeing that we are intertwining with the Leeward Island, the Windward Island, and we're also going out there in the globe, and we are also seeing, we are seeing people are mixing, people are stepping outside of the box, and we're having a lot of different cultures. Yes, so people are intertwining, and they're making, bringing in these mixed babies. You feel me, people? So tonight, I just got to let you guys know that I forgot one of my phones. So if anyone are trying to get me on the U.S. line, I forgot that phone. Shelly Gomes, if you can hear me, please let me know. If you're trying to get in on Zoom, just got to make sure that you're going to be in, because tonight definitely, tonight definitely we cannot leave, come and present such beautiful show, and we don't have the specialist to be in here with us tonight. How are you, my boy?
I'm good.
The general is in the house. This one? No, yeah. All right, so the general is in the house. He seems to have it all locked down. He always just walking when we start the show. So tonight, Mabo, I'm here waiting because I forgot. I'm just hoping that Shelly Gomes, if you're listening to my voice, yes, if you're listening to my voice, Shelly, yes, and this morning I just gotta let you guys know that today Yes, today I basically spoke to Shelly and everything was fine. So I think that, we don't have anything to worry about. So Shelly, if you're hearing me, come on in. So Mabo, it's good to see you here.
Yes, sure to miss it. Good night to each and everyone.
I'm not seeing it. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, it was out for like what, 2 Mondays now ago.
Huh? Mabo, you don't act like you can't talk. I just see you on Facebook and with reading your comment. Don't come on here and act like no shy in a general.
No, man, me ain't shy, me ain't shy.
Well, so
Sure
well,
not shy, sure
you
not
can't be
shy.
no shy. You understand? This, yeah. Talk inside of the mic.
No.
Talk inside of the mic, Marvel. You're no
Yeah,
stranger
yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand?
I have to just lift it up a little bit.
Because use one of them Facebook or what should I say? You're warrior on Facebook.
Man, stop it now.
But it's the truth, so don't come out here and pretend like you're so shy.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Yes, good to see you. It's kind of weird sometimes because we're here doing the radio and we still link with Facebook and
Yeah.
YouTube, the whole social media. So sometimes, folks, if you see me, sometime on the phone, I'm basically trying to get the link so I can get it out for the good people out there that will want to see what we're doing here. So just have some faith, have some patience with us. So, Mabo, how was your weekend?
Me, I've had a good weekend.
Any special thing happened over the weekend?
Not really just, sports day and,
Just sports day?
yeah, when village school, sports day. It was Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Weekend, I just more chillax with my children.
I am very biased. I asked you how the weekend, and don't tell me that you ain't no Sinkers get whooped by Nevis. Why y'all running away from that here? They had the debate.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
beautiful thing is, right? We're lucky enough for the Leeward Island competition where we had both Sinkers and Nevis at top.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it takes St. Kitts to make Nevis stay winning like that. Because I feel like Nevis come on better, with the game. They kind of game up, get the game plan on when they're having to come up against St. Kitts.
Yeah. Always been a, rivalry from way back.
Listen, you ain't gonna make the Nevis people in the division them think that Lavi,
No, we're just being, generous.
But I have to say, right now that I've been speaking to a few people, and this is what even some Kittitians say it, okay? And both men and women say that when it comes to St. Kitts and Nevis, they're basically saying that Nevisians are more ambitious than St. Kitts people.
Okay, well, sometimes you have to agree with it because when you go to Nevis, you don't see a lot of people on the road, like panhandling and nuts like
Okay.
you see in St. Kitts.
Yes, so I'm seeing Shelly on. Shelly, I just see that you said hi. I don't have my other phone that way I can communicate with you for whatever reason. I forgot it. I can't get to send it from here. This phone, I just have this phone here. I don't know how to send it over to her. But I did gave her all the information. So Shelly, please, I just see that you say hi. Let me know. Mm-hmm. She's saying that she cannot get in on Zoom, and I can't even message her here. You seeing her? That's what she's saying. She can't get in on Zoom, so we have to find somewhere to get in, and I can't even get to message her from here. You see, I have a different phone. Oh my God, how could I forget my phone tonight? I'm gonna have to go outside of the box. Radioland, forgive me. Excuse me, can I give the information over the air? Can I? Folks. Oh, yes. So I don't know. Wow, how are we gonna do this thing here? Oh my God. I don't. No, this is a new phone. What happened? I had some phone issues. I don't have it in this phone. That's what I'm telling you. All the information is in the other phone. But
And my phone shut down.
Shelly, I cannot put it in the message because I don't have your number. Okay, so can I put your number over the air because I cannot even message it? Okay. Can you tell me your number? Hi, Shelly. Can you get a pen and write this number? 869 764 1185.
So how come
Yes, she's telling me to put it in the message. I mean, I'm really I have a yes. Yes, but Shelly, you have to call that number. Can I say it again, please? That's 869 764 1185. Yes, and you can send a text. You don't have to call. You can just send a text, and he's gonna send back the Zoom link. But I don't know. Maybe you can scroll back up because I did send you that Zoom link. So I don't know why you cannot get on. I truly apologize for this. Love you, Shelly. Tonight, we're gonna get you in. Don't sweat. So Mabo, let's come back now to this St. Kitts and Nevis when it comes to sports, just the competition. It's a big deal for Nevis winning St. Kitts, even in the Queen shows, basketball,
whatever.
cricket. Nevis are not really that great in soccer, right? Like football.
No, but they have some standout athletes as well.
Athletes?
Standout footballers, basketballers, cricketers, what have you.
That's very good. So what are the strongest point when it comes to Nevis? Cricket, for sure.
Cricket, yeah, of course.
Why you think Nevis have more strength in the cricket over there?
Well, they tend to grasp more at the cricket side, whereas St. Kitts now more on the football side.
Yeah, but Nevis don't just stay with cricket though. They basically, they come in with a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and they're good. They're going in their athletics now, so.
Nevisians are intelligent. They're focused. I want to believe maybe St. Kitts it's more like the more metropolitan, even though we're not really metro big.
Yeah.
We have so much activities down here, and Nevis probably was shut down at what time?
6, 7.
Stop it.
Yeah. In the weekend it's like from like say 8, 9. That's it. Dead.
So
And unless there's a function up there, like a St. Kitts banner, so go up, then yeah.
how about Sunshine?
Yeah, the beach should be more open to a little more later. Maybe 10, 12.
All right. So I'm gonna ask a question, and this is gonna be not directly at you.
Yeah.
In general. So if anyone out there listening, because we're here waiting for our guests to come in on Zoom. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened, why she has not been in. All right, so folks, so folks, listen. I have our technician, right? He's so informed and stuff. So sometimes I kind of get, But anyway, great news. Shelly is in. So she will be coming. Yes. So she will be coming in. I'm getting all excited now. But so I want to ask a general question in the meantime, right? Why do you think that division appears when it comes to business? I mean, the majority of divisions, even the youths coming up, they either own their own, businesses. It could be clothing, Why you think like they're being like so successful in business and do you
mindset?
So Kittians are gonna mindset?
But Kittitian to me they're more like laid back. Nevisions be more go out and make it happen.
So by just saying that Kittitians are more laid back, because laid back not gonna get you here. We say laid back. So how do you see not just you, but maybe how you will instrument when it comes to your children even being driven, because we should be able to look at Nevis and St. Kitts in a positive light, then apart from the competition, we have to be open-minded and reality. This is Real Talk with Lavi, by the way, to recognize that the division, basically, they're focused and they're driven, they're go-getters. I don't know if because they play small, maybe they ain't got too much warm shop.
Yeah, that could be one too. And I think it's got all the home shop.
But how about the average division kids smoking? And no disrespect to the smoker,
it's
but
not much different from Kitishon.
so you're gonna say that when it comes to Nevis and a percentage with division youths, especially women and men, right? Because the females they must smoke more than the men them. But I've seen it down here in St. Kitts where smoking, and we're talking about smoking,
Yeah.
quote unquote, the marijuana. God, to me, that don't look like the marijuana because me don't know what I'm smoking there. Some of it look like stones. Wherever they got in there, sometimes I wonder if they really know what they're smoking. But maybe somebody from Nevis, could maybe shed the light on top of this too, because, all right, yeah, maybe they can shed the light because I personally feel that smoking and alcohol is destroying a lot of our young children because they're getting it very early, But nevertheless, once again, you're on the Real Talk with lovely, lavish Lavi. If you're just in tune, 98.9 FM radio, and on Facebook, WINN Media SKN, and on YouTube, also Real Talk with Lavi. All right? So, good evening to you, Miss Shalene Gomes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. What happened?
I have no idea. There was a mix-up with the Zoom thing, but it's sorted now. So
Oh,
I can't complain. Won't
right.
complain about that at all.
Absolutely. And I'm feeling so honored because you know what? When we have confident people, we make things happen. Sometimes you can't be too prepared. And
Right.
this evening, I was very much prepared. But for whatever reason, I left the other phone so I couldn't really relate to you from there. And this other phone that I have is a new phone. But to cut a long story short, nevertheless, you're here. And tonight, we are going to be talking about how culture relationships affect our mental health. And you are a counselor, crisis counselor down in St. Croix, Virgin Islands. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Shelley.
Okay, so I'm Shelly. Well, Shelly is my name that family calls me, or the people that are closer to me are. Shalene is my government name. So, sometimes we have to use our government name for certain things. But I do crisis counseling. I've been doing crisis counseling for about 30 years now. And so crisis counseling and victim advocacy is pretty much when people get into that state where life starts to give them that overwhelming feeling. They come and we have a conversation, we have a discussion about how they can make life easier for themselves, how we can organize ourselves to do better if it's domestic violence, if it's sexual assault, if it's child abuse, if it's victims of crime, any of those things, then, I help to get them into a safety plan and recognize their own strength, because a lot of times people don't feel that they can get to the next level because they're in the middle of a crisis. And, culturally, we don't really talk about what's wrong with us. We have a culture of silence, especially in the Caribbean. What happens at home stays at home. If something is wrong with me, I can't express my emotions, that kind of stuff. So we get stuck in our own self. And so I kind of give them an outlet to be able to talk about those things, to do those things, to find their best selves. I also do a mentorship program, which helps people to become self-sufficient based on their own skills, right? Not necessarily depending on people, because, we have this culture of dependency as well. And then something has to happen for us to become mad, for us to start to do our own stuff, right? And so trying to get people to that place, working with them, realizing that all of us are in this together is pretty much how that, pans out. You can't have empathy for somebody if you don't have empathy for yourself. And so in the mentorship program, I'm very big on being yourself, knowing yourself, and loving yourself, because you really can't do anything if none of those things are in place. So that's a little bit about me.
Nice. Shelly, I can see you in this thing. You never make no mistake. You never blutter. It look like no full stop could even get in
Oh
there.
my.
But 1 hour to come very quickly, and
Yeah.
we how we started and everything. So I'm just gonna get straight into it. It is real talk. So this program, it's okay for us to get a little mistake and stuff like that. People
Mm-hmm.
understand, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Shelley, I've been seeing down here now in the Caribbean, more so Saint Kitts and Nevis. We will look at the big screen and we see certain crimes back in the days. Even we look at them on TV, but they're now coming right here in front of our eyes, where we're seeing some really strange things happening. And most people would think that people are wicked and, they ain't got no heart. But we very well know that there's something called mental health illness, and
Mm-hmm.
this thing called PPD. So I would
Yes.
like you to,
PTSD.
recently, and I try not to single out anyone because there are families out there are persons out there that we have to be so careful how when we say things, we do not really point it towards any particular person, because when it comes to mental health, it ain't got no face. So I would like to know if,
Very.
how can you help us be more aware, especially, like I said, we're seeing some of these terrible crimes and certain things that are happening. We hear about bipolar, we hear about
Dementia.
dementia. Well, I would think dementia. I don't know if that's mental health, but I guess Shelley will tell us about that. And we also see where, post people say when people just get babies, they say especially within the 6 months, and they're going to depression.
Postpartum depression.
Post, yeah, right. Sometimes even you see parents kill their children, and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. And we also got to look at COVID, coming out of COVID, being locked down, especially young people who would not have been able to do certain things, and cost of living gone sky high. So I'm going to let you take over, and maybe you could shed a little light upon that for us.
A lot of the things that you mentioned, they happen, one, because we, like I was saying before, we have a culture of silence. We're not okay talking about when something is wrong with us, because we automatically assume it means that we're weak, or that people are going to look at us as weak. And sometimes sharing the things that are going on, we feel that we have to put on this strong face, right? So post-traumatic stress disorder is something that happens to all of us, right? A lot of times we look at it just from the extreme trauma being that, somebody's been to war, they watched somebody get killed, or they had an accident, or they had some kind of a major event that has happened. But post-traumatic stress doesn't come from just that. It comes from domestic violence, it comes from child abuse, it comes from sexual assault, it comes from harassment, it comes from stalking, it comes from anything that stops yourself from feeling comfortable in your own space. And then when you get into things like mental illness, on top of those emotional things that happen, you start to have a chemical imbalance to other stuff, right? And so that's where you get into the mental illnesses, where you have the bipolar disorder, where there's a chemical imbalance, and that would lead to schizophrenia, and it leads to the delusions. Post-traumatic, postpartum depression comes, and a lot of people just bypass it because you have a baby and you're supposed to go back to being normal. That doesn't happen because your body's going through an enormous amount of changes as a woman, right? Your hormones have already kicked in, and during the pregnancy, a lot of things have already changed. And so after you've had the baby and your body's trying to regulate itself, things like that happen. But we don't really look at all the changes that happen after somebody's been through something, right? And that's where you start to run into problems, because we're not paying attention to the changes that happens after something happens. Like, most people don't realize that grieving causes a problem. So the end of a relationship causes a problem, right? A lot of people develop hate, they develop a defense mechanism, and they call it independence. They have a bad attitude. All of a sudden, all man is dog, ain't got no good man no place, woman, all these women have this, and we start to say a lot of stuff because we're still living in the hurt. And a lot of people don't get out of the relationships that they were in. They're still there emotionally, and those things start to create problems, right? Because now we start having anger issues, and anger is an end result of hurt. And so if we're hurt, we're going to lash out because we were never taught, especially in the Caribbean, how to deal with anger. Like, if I ask you a question, when you see before, because I know that you've developed as well. So, but before, when you see a young boy crying, what's the first thing we'd tell them?
Hush him out. What he crying for?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Like boys don't have emotions too. Children are children and they have emotions too. But we go through this point of making people feel like they're not supposed to have emotions. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if something happens to you, or you're going to deal with it. And that's really been our culture. We really have a culture of silence when it comes to dealing with emotional intelligence, right? And how we
Mm-hmm.
handle stuff. And that's where we run into a lot of problems. And then, of course, there's the influx of the abundance of information that we get off the internet and off the television and all the rest of it, and not having a conversation where we're able to balance out reality versus not reality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where some of our problems come in. We can't balance out ourselves anymore, or we're not balancing out ourselves anymore. And because we're not balancing out ourselves anymore, we have a warped reality. So we kind of living in a metaverse. You know, we use things outside ourselves to define ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we look for validation outside ourselves to define ourselves. So if in order for me to prove that I am strong, I have to hurt somebody, then that's what I'm going to do. In order for me to deal with a situation that I have to get rid of the problem, whatever it is I need to do to get rid of the problem. Because I think if I get rid of the problem's actually going to go away. I'm not really considering the consequences of my action, then that's what I'm going to do. That's why suicide in the Caribbean, suicide around the world actually is very, very high, and very high among young people. Suicidal ideations, you know what I mean? It happens a lot because we're not in a place where we're comfortable talking about how we feel, which is very unfortunate, because until we're able to do that, we're really not going to do any better as a people. I do have hope though, which is why I still do my job.
Mm-hmm. So you would say that, well, not that we're saying that this is how people, everybody do, but a lot of people have kind of like hide, as you say, in silence and become superficial with it because we have to kind of like pretending, like, for instance, I would say money, peer pressure, bullying, and just being in especially a small community where everyone expect people to be perfect. And you did talk about relationships where more and more, for instance, single women right now, it's like a stigma to be a single woman. So you find out a lot of single women are jumping into a relationship just to say that they got a man. And at the end of the day, a lot of them kind of lost themselves because they're doing it for a show. Because the thing is, you're married, and that's another situation where there's no perfect relationship whether you're single or whether you're married, and it doesn't matter what status you have, whether you have a good job or you don't have a good job, because when it comes to relationship on the whole, if people are just mentally messed up or damaged, you're gonna have issues.
You are going to have issues, and you're going to have issues because if you can't be you, then it doesn't really make a difference what kind of a relationship you get into, right? Because the person's supposed to be in a relationship with you. And something that I tell a lot of the people that I talk to, both in my office and in the mentorship program, is if you're pretending to be somebody else, or you're looking for validation outside yourself, then who is that person in a relationship with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we really think about it, who would they be in a relationship with? If I am trying to be the person that you want me to be, or I think, because we have a lot of imaginary people in our head, right? And I know that sounds weird, but we have a version of the person in our head that we are trying to match, right? So
Yep.
we don't look at the reality of the person, and we're trying to be the person we think that person wants us to be. And so therefore, they're not in a relationship with us. So the relationship is going to have a problem because there's nobody in the relationship.
Yep. So Shelly, listen, we can't get enough of you because it's only 1 hour.
Mm.
But I also want to ask you, because tonight's topic, and you're touching on everything, how culture and relationships affect mental health.
You've disappeared.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. Yes. So,
Uh-huh.
like I said, tonight's topic is how culture and relationships affect mental health. How would you describe that?
Well, if you look at our culture, a lot of our culture is, like we were just talking about, is based on image. I know we don't like to accept that, but a lot of our culture is based on image. What do we look like? What are people going to think of us? How are they going to perceive us? How we're supposed to present ourselves, from the way we look to the way we dress, to our attitudes, to the way we talk, to just the people that we're around. A lot of our culture is based on image. And because of that, we have to present a particular presentation. That presentation may come with a lot of non-beliefs, right? And so changing how we feel and changing how we present ourselves becomes very difficult. Because if I present myself as I am, not everybody's going to accept me. And so instead of trying to get into that situation where people aren't accepting me as I am, I would alter the way I am to be accepted. Because it's like, we have a lot of old adages that really don't make no sense if you ask me. But anyhow, they say that, you have to, if you don't look a certain way, then you can't get certain stuff done, which isn't true, right? There's a lot of things that you can do, but you have to do what is true to you and that you have a passion for. Because a lot of people, they went to medical school to be doctors, and they may be great doctors, but they may be very grouchy doing it. So they don't have any bedside care. You know what I mean? They don't have any bedside manner, so they might as well not be a doctor, because they don't really want to be doing that, but now they have to pay back the college loan, and so they have to continue to do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so certain things that we do, we have to pay attention to it, or it's going to destroy the way we live our lives. And culture has determined a lot about how we present ourselves. And that presentation of, like you said earlier, oh, I have to have a man or else I'm not a full woman. Or I have to have a baby or else I'm not a full woman. Or if I don't have a job, I'm not a real man. Or if I can't pay her rent, then I'm not a real man. If I can't look after her car, then I'm not a real man. If I don't have a official education, a book sense education, I'm not a real man. Not taking into consideration that people who do construction, people who do welding and electrical work make more money than most people that went to college.
Hello.
But the imagery that we have in our head is the problem that we have. And so getting past that is where we have a problem. And because you're not happy because you're doing what you think you're supposed to do versus what you want to do, it starts to affect your mental health, because you live in a depression and you don't even know. Depression doesn't look like most people think it does either, which is the other thing, right? Most people think when you're depressed, you don't want to talk to anybody. You lock yourself out in a room. You don't have any communication with people, but that's severe depression. It's not the regular depression, right? And the regular depression, which is when people are unhappy with themselves, that happens all the time, is what is the biggest problem that we have. Because people are walking around depressed and they haven't recognized it because they've been doing it so long, it nearly feels like a norm.
Yes,
but they don't have a personal sense of joy.
I think also, adding to what you're saying, I feel like some people, they don't have any emotional intelligence and they really don't know how to show the emotion. And as you said, that if somebody accustomed to doing something and it becomes a norm, and I feel that a lot of persons that are going through situations before it becomes a depression, as you said, they stay silent and they do not talk to people because sometimes they can't trust people. But at the end of the day,
Correct.
People got to know what is a friend, associate, and acquaintances, and confidence is totally different. And even when it comes to family, you still have to know your families, because even some parents, they talk everything to their friend and forgetting that, there's a level of privacy, even in relationships, husband, wives, boyfriends, whatever, even children go and, talk their parents with other people. So you find that I feel that when people have some, when it comes to compassion and being able to control your emotion as well. A lady once told me, and I never noticed Shelley, she said, Laverne, You have to know how to balance when it comes to your brain and your heart. So, in
Yes.
other words, your mind and your heart. And she said that you cannot, your emotions, in other words, you don't let your emotions control your heart or control your head. The two of them, if they're clashing, you're going to have an issue. And
Right.
having said that, we in the smaller Caribbean, even to give opinions, and some people, all of a sudden, I've been around, probably for a couple of decades, and I've never really seen the word opinions just being tossed around all the time. Well, it's my opinion, but sometimes it's not really opinion. It's yes, it's your opinion, but it's negative, or it's something where you want to control and bully others, or you get like hot and cold, like eggshells, because somebody says something and you want to shut them down. So you want to tell people how they're supposed to eat, talk, walk, but at the end of the day, you're not doing what you're telling somebody else to do.
Right. Well, and a lot of that comes from, okay, and so this is where everybody's gonna fall out with me, and I'm quite all right with that, right?
This is real talk,
Um,
Shirley. Bring it on.
right. So one of the problems that we have is that sex produces children, not parents, right?
Yep.
And so because of that, parenting doesn't come with a handbook, and a lot of us, we learn to parent based on our parents' parenting skills. Our parents' parenting skills was based on theirs, and a lot of theirs goes back to the way slavery was done. So that's the reason why emotions weren't allowed.
Yep.
They were safeguarding themselves because they didn't want somebody to take their child away from them. And if they got too connected, then there was going to not be a way for them to be able to handle what was going on. Unfortunately, though slavery in most ways has been done for a while, the mentality is still there, right? Um, People talk to who feels safest to them. And that may not be the person in the house. It may not be the person that you're around all the time. It may not be the person who other people would think that you should be able to talk to. And the reason why is most times when you're most vulnerable, people are also in a bad situation. So how they approach you stops you from feeling safe with that person. And so therefore, you're not, even though you may have good intentions, you're not a safe place for them. So they're going to find somebody else to talk to because they need the problem solved, but they don't trust you to tell you what the problem is. Not only is it that they don't trust you to tell you what the problem is, they also don't trust themselves because we have been taught to shut down our emotions so long that we don't trust our own intuition. And until we start to be able to trust our own intuition, regardless of what the outside validation may look like, we don't really get to that next step in terms of development. Because when you trust yourself, or you learn to trust yourself, when you're okay with being who you are, and the things that people say becomes information to you and not confirmation of validation of who you are, you approach yourself differently. You
Speak it,
make
sister.
decisions
Speak
differently.
it.
You know what I mean? And once we start making decisions about ourselves differently and we come to terms with our own self, it's very easy for us to accept people as they are. That really is the main problem, right? We can't accept us because we feel guilty about certain things. We wait till we're angry to say stuff because there's not that emotional balance between our head and our heart, right? And that is the longest 13 inches on the planet, the space between your head and your heart. Because sometimes your heart wants to do something, but then your head is trying to rationalize with you. And your heart gets hurt, and so your head starts to do the rational thing and it comes out wrong. So, it's like I use an example a lot. Depending on how you feel, I can tell you, hey, Lavi, you look real nice today. Depending on your mood, you're going to be like, well, what's she watching me for?
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're in a okay mood, you'll say thanks. And if you're like a Caribbean black woman, I only get this shirt down the road. It was only $15 for the shirt because we can't take a compliment to save our life. And if you're in a good mood, you say, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. You understand? So it depends on your reaction to the person when they say something to you that causes our relationships now to get breached. And that breaching takes a long time to come back because one of the hardest things to regain in anybody is trust. And once trust is gone, the relationship pretty much is over.
Wow. And you know what I find also, Shelley, in adding to what you said, Sometimes you get somebody a compliment, and because they're not accustomed to getting the compliment, sometimes they will literally ask you, "Is me you're talking to?"
Uh-huh. Definitely.
Females
Because
especially.
we're not accustomed of hearing good things, right?
Yes, yes.
Most people, especially in the Caribbean. I mean, and I grew up in St. Kitts, right? I grew up
Mm-hmm.
between St. Kitts and Croix, England. But most of us in the Caribbean, most Black people that come from Caribbean parenting,
Mm-hmm.
we don't hear anything positive about us, right? We'll never get praise directly to us. They will tell everybody else we've done well, but they won't tell us that we've done well.
No.
And so we're not accustomed to hearing it. And because we're not accustomed of getting praise, unless there's a benefit to the image that they're trying to portray, then we start to not be, we're not able to accept good things, whether it be in terms of a compliment, in a relationship. If the relationship is going too good, we start to think about how many things can go wrong, right? Don't express our gratitude for the moment, right? We're not pleased and living in the moment, right? We're waiting for something bad to happen, unfortunately, because then that takes away from us being our best selves as well.
And also to Shelley, and I would say honestly, I was raised in St. Kitts and also the Virgin Islands and Florida. And it's only when I went to St. Thomas, because I went there very young, and I was very shy. And even in the classroom in school, everybody putting up their hand, and I'm scared to talk because I would have had an accent to talk, so I kept quiet. And I remember the teacher telling me, "No, talk, express yourself." And I find in the smaller Caribbean islands, and I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of us grow up in this kind of environment where they say, "Hush your mouth, not talk."
Speak when you're spoken to.
Speak when you're spoken to. But at the same time, if it's gossip, right, it was like, what you say? So as you said, we encourage the negative and we shut down persons to speak up and express themselves. And that is why you have a lot of abuse in the home, even from the children, spousal abuse, persons out there that just want to give that image as if everything is okay. And the same people that they're looking down at is the same people that probably maybe they hate the grudging because they behave different to them. And I'm happy that you said when mental illness has no face, because when it comes to expressing oneself, and you said this tonight, that persons will go to different people, and it doesn't mean that they're the right person to go to either, but that's where they feel comfortable. And I know for sure, being a cosmetologist and running a salon over the years, quote unquote hairdressers, those are places where people will go and express themselves. So you have hairdressers, barbers, bartenders, and people will go there because they spend time there sitting, they feel comfortable. And this is why I said, well, as you said, the topic tonight is how culture and relationships affect mental health, where we are looking at persons in mental health to be a particular type of person. It don't got away. The heads of government, people, look at, for instance, the Queen of England and different, stuff like that. You see how he leave from there and he step outside of the box. So when it comes to humanity and human, you're breathing, you know better than nobody else, because it's not a lot of people are mentally strong.
Correct. And we mix up self-confidence and self-esteem.
Absolutely.
Right? Because we think because somebody does something well, it means that they feel good about themselves. And that's not true. It just means that they're good at what they do. It doesn't mean that they feel good about themselves. Being a domestic violence counselor, there's a lot of doctors, lawyers, and people, they message me on Facebook. The internet's an amazing thing, right? I have people that message me on Facebook or would send me emails because they don't want to be in the same place and have a conversation with somebody that's where they're at, right? And these are very professional people that have a lot of money, and everybody else looks at them and they are the epitome of what somebody else wants to be, because that's how they present. But on the inside, they're dying, right? And if you have self-confidence, you can function in your job really, really well and be completely depressed. But most people won't realize it. And then they're shocked when they heard, oh, well, this person killed themselves. Well, that would be the
Yes.
reason why.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got to take some time this evening. Folks, if you see me not interacting, I not using the phone that I'm supposed to be able to interact with you guys. So I just want to take some time out and read what Miss Grace is saying. Grace is saying that some of us were not brought up the way with all those feely stuff, right? Somebody is saying sound good words, Shelley. That's Lavington Brown. And Miss Gwyneth Byron is saying Shelley is right. Sex produces children and not parents. Very powerful. And so this is what's happening. Vanny Griffin, she's up there in New York. Yeah. She's saying true. And what we're seeing here, we're seeing Wabuka Hobson. That's Wabuka Bass. He's also, the thumbs up. And I just want to let people know, if you're out there in Radioland, we'll talk with WINN FM. We connect, we're not just with, on the radio, but we're also on social media. So I know sometimes there are persons out there, sometimes they don't even know of Facebook and all those different things. And this is why I'm just so happy that we can, bring this kind of conversation, to the airways, Shelley, because as you very well said, that a lot of persons are silent. When they're supposed to be talking, they're not talking. And when they're supposed to be talking, they need to be silent, And mental illness right now, or depression, it is here. It was here all the time, but it is here in St. Kitts. I want to share this quickly, Shirley. Okay. I grew up back in the days where when people are mentally ill, we used to call them momo and invalid and crazy and that kind of thing, and we scorn them. And I'm going to just go quickly where I grew up in St. Peter's, and I remember there was a particular house in St. Peter's, and a child, she will probably be maybe in her young teens. She was on the house, right? It was a wooden house, and we will pass, and we never know any better as children. And we will stone her. And I'm just saying we in terms of we, right? Mm-hmm. We go up seeing this kind of thing where we stone her, and we will, just treat her terrible. There was also another guy, and we will call him names and different things. But listen, those people were kind of fighting in their own way. And I'm just saying that, being able to travel to America, I cannot even go on a public bus if someone is coming and they're disabled. Disability, or they have, something like that, you cannot even go inside in front of them. Yeah. And I just want to let you know, Shelley, I truly appreciate you because you have so much to bring to us. I mean, I'm honored to have you even being here in this kind of discussion, because it's time for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Caribbean, anywhere you go, Black people, to wake up and recognize that mental illness, it's a stigma. And I know there's a particular person, and she said to me, Lavi, they want me to admit to this, but I can't because I don't want nobody call me crazy. That says enough, Shelley. So as a crisis counselor, how would you address something where you have someone that killed their children or killed their husband, do something in terms of murder, right? And they literally don't know that they're doing it because they don't want to tell anybody that they're crazy, because they're not crazy. People are going to call them crazy. But what if these people really don't know what they do, so they can't admit to something that they don't know that they do? Have you ever seen any cases like that?
A lot of times, because, when you get to blind rage, or if you get to a place where there is a mental illness and you have a blackout stage, right? And I'll call it a blackout stage so that I don't get very technical, right? There are things that happen. There are moments that happen where you can't put two and two together, right? Because your reality switches, right? Because of the chemical imbalance, but not only because of the chemical imbalance, because of the amount of trauma, right? So I have cases where I've had a young girl, and she was being molested as a child, and she kept being molested as a child. She tried to tell people, she stayed away from the person, her grades started to drop in school and all the rest of it. She ended up stabbing this person. All they saw was that she stabbed this person. She said she didn't remember stabbing the person, right? And when they asked her, well, how did you not remember stabbing the person? I mean, like, all the evidence showed that she was the person that stabbed this person. And in having a discussion with her, she said, I don't remember stabbing the person. And I said, well, I can understand that because when you get into a blackout stage or white space, then what happens is you shut down so that all the things that have been bothering you, all the hurt that you've had, all the fear that you have comes to the surface and the surface and your body gets into this fight mode, right? So you defend yourself, right? And in the defense of yourself, it's the person or the situation. So it different people can get hurt at the time, and you're not going to remember it until you're done, right? When you're done, you just know that the situation has stopped. So in her case, she wasn't getting raped anymore, right? And so she was finished because it got to that point where she had told that as far as she was concerned, she had told all the right people and nobody did anything. Most people that go through depression have been telling people something's wrong with them. But because we as a people don't want to, and I think you said her name was Grace. I like the term Grace used with the feely stuff. Because most people don't want to deal with the feely stuff, they don't listen. Right? You could be telling them something is wrong with me. Something is wrong with me. They're not going to catch on to the fact that something is wrong with you and you've been telling them for months until something happens where now the whole planet knows. And now all of a sudden, I'm the bad person because I've done this, but I kept telling you and I kept asking for help and nobody wanted to deal with it because, oh, I don't want to deal with that. That's going to look bad on the family. I can't have somebody with mental illness in my family. I can't have the feely stuff in my family, right? And so because I can't have the feely stuff in my family, because it's embarrassing, then I get embarrassed in another way. Because when the feely stuff becomes overwhelming and everything starts to shut down and you do the only thing that makes sense to you at the moment, when you're done, you really may not remember it happening because you've blocked out at that point, right? But that happens a lot. And it doesn't always get to murder. It doesn't always get to physical murder. Let me put it that way. It doesn't always get to physical murder, but it gets to emotional murder a lot. And so you will see people start to disjoint from other people. Like the relationship is dead. It's now killed, right? Because this has happened. But, they were trying to tell you all along and you just didn't get it, right? And unfortunately, that's when the extreme results of mental illness is what we pay attention to. We don't pay attention to all the little signs and symptoms that happen in between, which is really unfortunate because we don't want to be associated with that. And a lot of times it's because, they're very reflective of how we feel about ourselves. I don't want anybody to know that I'm depressed. I don't want anybody to know that I can't handle what's going on with me or that I feel a little bit inaccurate in this situation or inadequate in this situation, using both words for a reason, so I don't want anybody to know because then what are they going to think about me? And usually our discussion on the topic is what tells people whether or not they can talk to them about that, right? So if I hear you talking about, oh, that crazy man down the road, right? I'm not going to talk to you if I feel depressed because I already know that you have a stigma, even if you don't realize it, right? And then what usually happens after that is we do this thing where it's, oh, but you can talk to me. No, I can't because you told me for nearly 15 months about that crazy man down the road. Why would I talk to you? And unfortunately, we're stuck in a situation where now there's a whole lot of problems that happen. Because mental wellness, unlike mental illness, is something that's very, 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 very much negated in our community. We don't pay attention to mental wellness at all. We don't pay attention to the feely stuff. We don't pay attention to, the fact that we can't get anything done. Your house ain't clean for weeks and you're not paying attention to it. You're just tired. You're tired unnecessarily. You ain't do nothing and you're tired because mental drain is more physically tiring than being physically tired, but we don't pay attention to it a lot of times.
Correct. I would say, and a lot of these things definitely start with sometimes your loved ones in homes, in schools, with your associate. Because I could tell you, I could speak for myself. There's some of my families, and you would think that they would support me, But if they see somebody maybe being malicious and say something bad about me, they don't want to associate themselves with me. And I guess for some people they break down. For me, I had to be my strength. Because if I gonna be here waiting for everything to sound and all nice for me, and that is why I'm single too, and I don't mind saying it on air, because you go with a boyfriend, and you think that he got you, you got him, and somebody come up and say, "Boy, you there with that there?" And when you think that the man got you, he don't got you just because of what somebody else say.
Yeah.
So for me, I would know when that lion come by for me because I'm a lioness. And this is why I am using this show to bring out this kind of information. And Shelly, if we have to do it together, because you don't know I don't link up with you, and we have to definitely continue. As you can see, we only have like 3 more minutes, and the show is just 1 hour. In the meantime, we have someone is saying exactly, it is time for us to start understanding and being more aware of mental health illness. Someone is saying is yes sir, the word crazy is a derogative word used to describe people. And somebody is saying, and we need to start embracing counseling in our society. And with this, Shelly, I just want you to close out. We can't have enough. We did this before on social media and everybody went crazy. And, I love to use the word crazy when it means well.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was a lot of persons that was telling us, excuse me? Yes. So we have like 2 minutes. And I just want to tell you thank you so much for being here. And if you have any special word, but I definitely have to bring you back because we need people like you. We need people like the good people that are commenting and contributing with us on this program to bring positivity in our people because we are seeing crimes and bad stuff that we think happen in the outer world are happening here in our small society.
It is. So, in closing remarks, don't make it a situation of it's not a problem until it becomes my problem, because that's the problem, right?
True that.
We have to make sure that when we see something happening, we don't wait until it becomes personal to try and do something to help to solve the problem. Because when it gets home to us, it may not be on the level that it was before, right? And individually, be yourself, know yourself, love yourself. Don't let your hurt determine your actions. Let your peace determine your decisions.
Sound words.
Shelly, I gotta tell you, thank you so much. And I could see this is words of wisdom, spirituality, conscious. I mean, everything positive, and this is what Real Talk with Lavi bring here tonight. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So next week, folks, on the Real Talk, stick and stay. We bring the real stuff. We bring the real stuff from our real people, no matter where you are. You could be in London, Germany, wherever you are. We are seeking you out. And if you know persons that have great influence and positivity to bring right here to our beautiful people in our Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, I am Lavi Gums once again. Thank you so much.
And with that, we are out.